Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Manachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavarmana Giri Gadanari Jaya Radha Gopi Janavarmana Giri Gadanari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Manachari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Manachari Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Is there anyone having the card number 6612? They are not here. The kids can go to kids class. So the kids class will start now. Om Jnana-Shalankaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadapi Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurava Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sadhajataram Sadhana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saritam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sadhana Lalita Shri Vishakhavitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pucharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshavari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasa Adhiroda Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I'm very happy to be amongst all of you. And this is a occasion of Swad itself, right? So I'm thankful to Balwan Balaji Prabhu for nicely conducting the Gita course here, and the wonderful team over here, Srinidhi Prabhu and Sanatan Prabhu, many devotees who are wonderfully working here, for giving you a nice spiritual experience, you know. So all of them are working in the corporates and having their own families and so much of commitments. So in spite of that, they are taking so much time to help you all to have some progress in the spiritual journey. So today's event Swad Utsav is a very interesting event actually. So in fact, when we used to be bachelors, so we all bachelors, we all used to stay together in one house. It used to be like 25 of us, we used to stay together in one place. And all of us were practicing Krishna consciousness. And this festival initially had started every New Year. We used to have this festival. And we used to invite all the devotees, and we used to have this many nice preparations. That time it was not like you all had cooked and brought items. How many of you had cooked from your and brought items? Oh, nice, nice. Many of you. So we generally like the boys would not know so much of cooking. So we used to try 2 day long cooking. So all the fry items would be made like a day before and the day before and things like that. And then 2 day long cooking would happen. And everyone who had come for the festival, so they would have 2 big plates of govardhan, like that. So it's though physically and practically impossible to eat that much of food. So but then we used to have every New Year, that kind of festival. And when we started Gita course, so this was a nice. Announce कर दिया already. Announce कर दिए. They're going away. So, and we used to have this festival, and it's a great fun. So when we started Gita course, so many cycles of this one was going on. So as all of you might be knowing that it's a very systematic study of Gita and a lot of philosophy and a lot of things that we are understanding in a technical way also. And we all we wanted some kind of a break between the first this kind of Gita discussion, and we wanted to have some festival. So then we came about with this Swad Utsav, so wherein all of you also get an opportunity to cook and offer some boga to the Lord, and it's a very nice like feeling, right? So all of you are feeling good, you're cooking and bringing for the Lord. So this this festival is like Krishna consciousness or the God realization. So like it is also celebrated in a nice festival way, festive way. So recently we celebrated Diwali and many other festivals, right? So in India, like we see that the God realization is pursued by different people in different ways. So some people used to go to the forest and meditate and things like that, and mass of the people, they would stay back in the cities, And how do they actually progress in God realization? So in Vedic system, everybody is progressing in God realization. Nobody is left out. Everybody is progressing. And there is a path in which so much of austerities is practiced and things like that. There is another path where a lot of festivals are celebrated. So all of them are actually helping us to grow in our spiritual knowledge and grow in our spiritual consciousness, right? So, so all these festivals, anything that is in connection with Krishna, anything that is in connection with the Supreme Lord, be it austerity or be it a festival, it's going to have the same effect. It's going to actually make us advanced in our spiritual consciousness. So that's the wonderful aspect of this Krishna Bhakti. And today I was this generally during this Swad Utsav, so I would narrate this pastime of Dhruva. How many of you know this character Dhruva? Dhruva Nakshatra. How many of you know Dhruva Nakshatra? Many of you know. Okay, so it's the personality connected with that nakshatra is Dhruva, the king or Rajkumar, Dhruva. So regarding him, so we will discuss his pastime. So that's a very wonderful pastime that comes in Srimad Bhagavatam. So before getting into that, so we will discuss one shloka which comes in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So it has some connection with Swad Utsav. It has some connection with the process of eating. So here goes the shloka. Bhakti Paresh Anubhavo Virakti Anyatra Chaisha Trikayeka Kala Prapadya Manase Yatashnatashrus Tushti Pushti Shukapayunudasa. So Anudasa, like with every morsel of food that we eat, what happens when we eat food? What happens to us? Huh? We get energy. Yeah, that's nice. This one. What else happens? What else happens when you eat food? Hunger is suppressed. Oh, that's nice. All of you know Bhagavatam. So one more thing is there. Three things that happens. Huh? Pleasure. Now we get satisfaction. Right? Exactly. These are the very three things that Srimad Bhagavatam is speaking about. Tushti, Pushti, and Shuddhapaya. No, Tushti means the satisfaction, and Pushti means the nourishment. No, we get energized and things like that. And Shuddhapaya is the reduction of hunger. Right? So these three things that happens, when we actually, take the food. So the very same way, when we actually practice this bhakti, that is mentioned as prapadya manasya. So prapadya manasya, what is the meaning of this word prapadya or prapanna? Anybody can guess? Prapanna. So many of the Sanskrit shlokas know this comes. This is another word that is used in the scriptures for sharanagati, or surrender unto the Supreme Lord. So another word that is used for surrender. So when we surrender unto the Supreme Lord, so then what happens to us? Like what three things occurs? Just like in the eating process, pushti, and shuddhapaya happens. In the same way here, bhakti, paresha, anubhava, and virakti. So these three things actually happens. So just like no bhakti, what's the definition of bhakti? Bhakti means to develop attachment and affection towards the Lord. How do we develop affection towards the Lord? By developing affection towards the Nama, Rupa, Guna, and Leela of the Lord. So all of you are introduced to the chanting of the names of the Lord, right? So like this is a form of meditation. So anybody asks, like if you are going to any yoga system or any like spiritual practice, so people would ask, like, what's the spiritual practice that you are doing? So like any of the yoga systems, be it Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, whatever may be the yoga system. So everyone is expected to do some kind of an abhyasa, some kind of a practice, daily practice. So what is that practice? Like every system, comes with a practice. Just like if you go to the school, it's a place to learn, something. And there also abhyasa is there. No homework is given, right? And the children are made to memorize certain things, right? So in this way, like the spiritual practices, like irrespective of whichever path, there is some kind of an abhyasa is there in every practice. What is the abhyasa that we have? Hare Krishna mantra, chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. So that's the prime and the very very important and pivotal and primary form of advancement in spiritual life. That's practiced in Bhakti Yoga. So that is chanting. So all of you must have heard this shloka in the Gita course that Krite Dhyayate Dhyayata Vishnu Pretaya Majito Makai Vapare Paricharyayam Kalauta Harikirtana. So in every age, in every yuga, there is a particular way in which actually we can approach the Lord and and make advancement in spiritual life. And in Kali Yuga specifically, it is Nama Kirtana. That is the the primary way of advancement. And that's the abhyasa that we do, right? So that is also a practice of bhakti. Practice of bhakti. Like this practice of bhakti increases. When we do prapanna, when we take shelter of the Supreme Lord, so our bhakti increases, our attachment to the Lord increases, and our practice of bhakti also increases, right? And then second is paresha anubhava, direct experience of the Lord. So like many times we go to the temple and here we don't have a bell. So when we go to a temple, like we ring the bell and then we offer pranams to the Lord over there, and then sometimes we may offer some money in the hundi and things like that. So and pujari may do some archana and stuff like that. So but of all these things, where is the direct experience? Did Lord anytime speak to you? No, you went to the temple so many times. Did Lord anytime speak to you? So, but here the process of bhakti means paresha anubhava, direct experience of the Lord. You will actually find the direct experience of the Lord as you make progress in the Krishna consciousness. So, how do you get this direct experience? Again, the same way, like how we are trying to develop our relationship with the Lord, that is practicing of Nama, Rupa, Guna, and Leela. So, like chanting of the names and like taking darshan of the Rupa of the Lord. And then Guna is like we are going to hear about the qualities of the Lord, qualities of the devotees of the Lord, and things like that. And Leela, like is the pastimes of the Lord. So this progressively the practice actually increases. So initially, everyone starts with the practice of Nama, practice of chanting the names of the Lord. And like when you are able to hear the names of the Lord clearly when you are chanting, so that's one kind of a direct experience of the Lord. No? And in this way, like you will be able to develop. And as we are seeing each other and speaking and listening and things like that, in the same way, you will actually be able to have a audience with the Supreme Lord. No, that's the Paresha Anubhav. So this also goes to the degree by degree, it actually increases. And then Virakti. Now Virakti is detachment. So detachment from this world. And sometimes people are very scared about this thing. So bhakti, you're doing bhakti, that means you'll get Virakti. So you'll become detached. No, maybe you'll become sadhu. you'll become disinterested in the worldly things. So, but actually, it doesn't mean like that. No, not that everybody becomes like that. So it is only that we become internally detached. No, so there is sannyasa or tyaga means like giving up all the material connections. So, but then renunciation, the thing that is mentioned is virakti, is an internal detachment, and in fact, this internal detachment is very much necessary for a person to be happy. No, a person to be like peaceful and happy. So you take any of the yoga systems. No, it always talks about sama dukkha sukha kshami. No, like be equipoised in happiness and distress. No, labha labha jaya aja. No, all these things like whether you get profit or loss, don't be distracted, don't be depressed. If you get lost, and don't be too much happy when you get profit. And like victory and defeat, don't be like too much disturbed by these things, right? So in modern day, like we hear a lot about depression, stress, and stuff like that. So in the Vedic times, also people were living, and we don't find this kind of disease existing in the Vedic times. Like hardly like we see people getting into depression and things like that in the Vedic revelations, whichever we have. So we find very little. Hare Krishna. Okay. So we find very little this one about people getting depressed. Why does it so? Because there is a nice this one is there. Whenever we talk about detachment, like people actually they tell that if we don't have attachment, so how we will actually do our work, how we will actually maintain our family and things like that. So, but in Vedic times also people were nicely working and they were like maintaining their families and they were doing such wonderful activities. So, what's the difference? What's the propelling factor? Here in the modern day, the attachment is the propelling factor. Especially attachment to the results is the propelling factor. But in the Vedic times, it is attachment to the duty. That's the propelling factor. That's the inspiration that people would have. And what about the results? What about the external success and defeat and things like that? That they would not take it so seriously. So everybody were so much focused about the duty, so much focused about the quality of work, and that is very important for them. And somebody may say like, okay, like whether you do your duty nicely or not, what matters is what the benefit you get, how much money you get, of a transaction. That's what matters. How what is it? Honest you were in the transaction. How does it matter? Does the world appreciate honesty in this today's day? Hook or crook, how much money you make, that's what matters, right? So, but then how did people in the Vedic times actually put a lot of emphasis on this particular thing? Honesty, truthfulness, and all these virtues. How did they actually put a lot of faith on these things? So, because they were transacting on a different currency. Now, what is the currency that they were transacting on? Huh? No, not that. So if you want to be happy, in modern day, if you want to be happy, you have to make money. Right? You need to have some nice, and if you have money, then only you can get some good a house and good car, and like then only like relatives will value you. If you don't have money, even relatives will not give any value to you, and things like that. So, but then in Vedic times, they also wanted happiness. It's not that they were some kind of a sadistic people. They were also wanting happiness, but they were not transacting on the literal money that's there. They were transacting on the currency called punya. So what is this currency? If you have punya, whether you like it or not, you have to be happy. Whether you like it or not, money will come to you. Whether you like it or not, all the riches, everything like Janma, Aishwarya, Shuddha Shri, good birth, education, what is it, wealth and beauty, all these things will automatically come. So Vedic times, people were actually working on those platforms even know that that is what is the currency, but people don't know. Now people think that they read some success stories. Oh, this person became millionaire. No, he became crorepati. No, how did he become a crorepati? Oh, he did this. No, whatever he could able to see externally, and the other person follows exactly the same thing, but he doesn't become crorepati. Now, what's the problem? The problem is there is lack of punya. The other person had punya, and incidentally he performed certain things, and he also became rich. He became rich. No, another person is trying to become rich, but he doesn't have the sufficient punya. How much ever he tries, he cannot become. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, we see that the pastime of Prahlad. No, all of you know Prahlad, right? So in the pastime of Prahlad, so what happens? Like his father Hiranyakashipu, he's torturing Prahlad just because he has become a devotee of the Lord. Just because he has become a devotee of the Lord. So and he's what all did Hiranyakashipu do to Prahlad? What did he do? He put him in fire, in hot oil, threw him from the mountain,
put him in a bunch of snakes.
Put him amongst the snakes and things like that. But what happened to Prahlad? Nothing happened. So in that, like Srimad Bhagavatam actually notes this one, that if a person has not committed any punya, no, he cannot, how much ever he tries, no, he cannot become happy. He cannot get riches. He cannot get any of the opulent stuffs of this world. And in the same way, if a person, no, if he has not committed any sin, he cannot possibly suffer. And Prahlad was a very, very sinless person. He was very pure soul. And how much ever anybody can try, so but he cannot be put into difficulty. So this is the equation. If somebody has to be happy, he needs to have some punya. If somebody needs to be like, if somebody is miserable, that means he must have committed some sins. Otherwise there is no possibility of anybody suffering without the sinful baggage, right? So in that way, like we see that in this world, the Vedic times, like people were actually transacting on this punya. Like any situation, they would not see hook or crook. I have to get my job done. No. So in this situation, what is my duty? Always the question would arise: what is my duty in this particular situation? So that's the question that people would ask, and that's what they would be inspired to do, right? So they were duty bound, and that's a culture at that point in time, and it was quite favorable. Like virakti means now you understand that to develop this kind of a detachment from the results of our activity, detachment from things of this world, it's very, very essential, because we cannot be swayed by like this is favorable to me, like no, I will put more focus on that. No, it's not like that. What is my duty? Whether it is like externally going to be good or bad to me, it doesn't matter. I must perform my duty. Everybody would be like that. So in that way, the virakti is a very, very amazing aspect actually, and a very positive aspect. It's not a negative aspect. It's a very positive aspect, and it is the way in which we get the happiness. And another thing, another way of explanation is that in this world, the material things, all the material things is created with a specific ingredient within it. What is the ingredient of the, like any of the material substance that you see in this world? So it is created with a particular ingredient. So what is that specific ingredient which is in connection with the discussion that we are having now?
Want.
Attachment, want. So, eki samsparshaja bhava dukkha yone evate. So, every material substance is, the basic make of this material substance is dukkha. If you try to exploit the matter too much, you will be miserable. So that's why you see, like, from all time, like, we have seen all the people who have wanted happiness. They always treaded on the path of spirituality. Spirit, the spirit soul, the Atma is the source of all happiness, and Paramatma is like major source of all happiness, and the matter is the source of all misery. So like this matter is like a live wire. Anytime we touch that in a wrong way, then it is going to pass on the current. So we are, like in any spiritual practice, we are advised that we should not too much indulge in matter. No, we have to be like controlled. That's why sense control is practiced and mind control is practiced. No, like the modern day definition of happiness is unleash your senses. No, eat as much as you can. And see as much as films that you can, and scroll endlessly like in the YouTube, and all these things. But are people happy with all these things? No, like it is not possible. So it's always true, by control of senses we become happy. Not by like exploiting the senses we become happy. No, that's not the solution. So because the matter by nature, the basic make of the matter is misery, and the basic make of spirit is, what is the composition of spirit? Sat, Chit, and Ananda. And what's the composition of matter? Opposite of it. Asat, that means it is temporary, right? And Achit, matter is dull. It doesn't have any consciousness or knowledge and things like that. And Nirananda. That's the basic constituents, like a basic element of creation. So it is made of misery. And more we scratch the matter, what we'll get? More we will get misery only. Right? So in this way, like we are advised to develop detachment from matter. So this is how this one is made. And if we see like in this way, like these three things are the components of progress of bhakti. Like if you see like if you're doing any work, there is a way of measuring your progress, right? So how do you measure the progress in bhakti? So these are the three parameters to measure the progress in bhakti. So like that is bhakti, paresha, anubhava, and virakti. So these three things. Like, am I developing attachment to the nama, rupa, guna, leela of the Lord? And like, am I able to perceive the Lord? Direct perception of the Lord is increasing. In terms of again nama, rupa, guna, and leela. And then, am I getting detached from anger, envy, and these kind of material things? So, am I getting detached from all these things? So, this is the parameter to check whether we are making progress in the path of bhakti. Right? So, and it is this shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam brilliantly puts that with the process of eating, how when we are eating, so automatically and simultaneously and progressively, these three things happen: tushti, pushti, and shrudapaya, satisfaction, nourishment, and reduction of hunger. In the same way, when we offer ourselves or when we take shelter of the Supreme Lord, prapadyamanasya, so these three things, that is bhakti, paresha, anubhava, and virakti. So these three things progressively and simultaneously, like it increases. That's how we can actually check the practice of bhakti. So it is like quite nicely defined parameters. And now we will see this pastime of Dhruva, that we were discussing. So like this pastime of Dhruva actually displays all these three things. How nicely this boy, who was very, very like nuanced in the practice of Krishna consciousness, and he started the practice and then he attained perfection. It's a very nice case study. So all of us are also like trying to practice. So the pastime of Dhruva is a very nice case study. It's a practical demonstration of these parameters, and additionally, it is a story of intense determination. So Dhruva Maharaj's story is generally like cited to give example of intense determination. Being a small boy, he was just a boy of maybe 5 years or so. So, but then he had very, very intense determination on the spiritual path. And then it is also a story of a lot of values. So, when we practice or when we learn about the science of bhakti, we also learn a lot of values, a lot of value system. And then it is also a story of perfection of yoga. So now, the story goes like this. So the story goes like this. In the beginning of creation, the first created being in the universe is Lord Brahma, right? So Lord Brahma gives birth to many great Prajapatis who are supposed to fill the universe. So it's like this universal cycle goes on, in Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali, and things like that. And at certain intervals, there is pralaya, there is destruction of the world, right? And what happens to all the living entities who are there at that point in time? So they are put on a pause, and when the next creation happens, again the Prajapatis, they let them in, to continue from wherever they have left, right? So now the first thing that happens, when the universe is created is populating the universe, right? So Brahma, he creates, many Prajapatis. So one of the Prajapati that is created is Manu, and this Manu and his good wife Satarupa, so they had many nice children. So they were like Uttanapad and Priyavrata. They were two children of Manu and Satarupa. And this Uttanapad, he had two children, Uttama and Dhruva. And so now we can understand. So it's a very, very initial family. It's not like we are all like we are also having the same origin. But then we are so many generations, thousands of generations apart. So, but then Dhruva's appearance is like in the very beginning of the creation. Right? So the Sultanabad had these two children. So he begot Dhruva from his wife called Suniti, and he had another wife called Suruchi. From her he begot the son called Uttama. So like, but this king, he had some special affection to his second wife, that is, Suruchi, and he used to be very affectionate towards her and not very much, towards Suniti. So now, what happened? One day, like Uttama is son of, what's the name of second wife? Suruchi. And he was sitting on the lap of his father, and Dhruva also like wanted to sit on the lap of his father. And he wanted, he approached the father, but father was not so much welcoming this son. And like Dhruva was feeling little awkward. If a child is lovingly coming to the father, to sit on his lap, so any father would, happily take him, and show affection on him. So, but then here, he was not very welcoming. And Suruchi was there by the side. It's because like because of this favoritism, and Suruchi was by there by the side, and she was addressing she addressed Dhruva, saying that she actually had a lot of envy in her heart. She was not a very pure soul, and she was telling that it is too much you are expecting. You want to sit on the lap of the king, lap on the lap of your father. It is not possible. You don't have sufficient punya for that. If at all you want to sit on your father's lap, you should die. You should perform tapasya, you should die and take birth in my womb. So then you can actually sit on your father's lap. It was quite a harsh, this one. So like nobody would, it's quite a harsh thing. It's anybody would get affected by this kind of this one. And Dhruva was like very much affected, by this harsh words of his stepmother, and he crying and heavily breathing like a beaten up snake. He was like going to his mother and Suniti, and he was so much crying very grievously. And Suniti actually saw the child crying and coming, and by then she also had the information from other palace attendants that what had happened, and his her co-wife, she had like spoke so harshly to the child and things like that. So she was also very much aggrieved, and she was also like crying very piteously. And but then she was telling that you see, like I'm not able to find any solution for your distress. She is telling to Dhruva, I'm not able to find any solution for your distress. So, but one thing that I can tell you, like you can imagine, like the scene, you can very well understand the scene. What would Suniti would have told, to Dhruva, in this kind of condition? One amazing thing she actually tells. Anybody can guess what she would have told? Huh? What is that? Go and pray God. Okay. So that is later she tells. Something immediately she tells. What is that? Any guess? Do tapasya and things like that. At least, some bit of what is that? Chastisement. Like this lady should have not done like this. What kind of brain she has got and things like that. Something of that sort should come, right? So, but then Suniti was telling that never ever think bad for anybody. It was a very amazing thing. You can see how wonderful is the practice of dharma, at that point in time. So they were so much, like you see, if you have enmity and if you develop hatred, somebody has done something to you, and if you develop hatred towards that person, actually you are harnessing a negative emotion in your heart. And like doing some harm to another person is actually adharma. Even if other person does, like okay, legally and ideally what needs to be done, let us do it. But then not having personal vengeance, that's not very, very good, for us. So like, Suniti is teaching her son, even in the time of distress, she's telling that don't think anything bad for anybody. No, don't wish anything bad for anybody. So, like, what to do? Like, no, you have taken birth from my womb, and king doesn't like me so much, no, and because of that, no, you are also not getting good treatment, no, from your father. So it's our misfortune, but then still, you should not think anything bad, no, for your stepmother. And then Suniti is telling that although your stepmother had spoken harshly, no, but there is one good thing that is there. What is that one good thing? No, worship the Lord. So that is something like, so she told that, no, you should perform tapasya, worship the Lord, please Him, and if the Lord is pleased with you, He will, give you the boon of taking birth from me. Then you can sit on your father's lap. If at all, like, if we, please the Supreme Lord, why should we want to take birth again? So we will go back to the spiritual world, right? So we can be there happily in the spiritual world in company of the Lord. So why should we come back to this, the world which is filled of all the miseries, right? So padam padam netre padam, or as Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Sometimes people say like you're too pessimistic about this world. All the time you're telling this world is full of misery and things like that. What to do? Like, no, that's what it is. So it is like realistic. No, it is not pessimistic. It's realistic, right? So, but then just a tangent, like there is a nice shloka that is there, which says that Kaivalyam narakayate, Tridashapur akasha pushpayate, Duddantendra kala sarpapatali, Kodkhata damstrayate, Vishwam purna sukayate, Vidimahindra adishakitayate. So, so this is very nice shloka which is actually describing a person who is advanced in his spiritual understanding, right? So, and what is the position of that person? So, he actually sees that Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. So, the world that is miserable, like the same world that is described as Dukkhalayam, it seems to be like Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. Now, how does this, then it is Krishna wrong in defining this world, Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam? So the basic nature why this world is mentioned as Dukkhalayam is because everybody is looking for to gratify their senses, and that is why this world is called as Dukkhalayam. Even in this world, if somebody develops the attitude of service, he can actually be very, very happy. So the signs of happiness is developing the attitude of service. And the best person to serve is the Supreme Lord. So when we serve the Supreme Lord, automatically everyone else in this whole creation